Hello and welcome back. So today we will be attempting the module 3 securing access to cloud resources. Today we will be performing the lab task lab 3.1, which is using resource based policies to secure an S3 bucket. So let me just open this task in new tab and to check what are the credentials of it. So let's wait for it to upload. It is taking some time in loading. So now it has displayed the details of the lab. We are like using resource based policies to secure an S3 bucket here. In this lab you will learn how to configure permissions by using AWS identity and access management, identity based and resource based policies such as Amazon simple storage services and bucket policies. You will also learn how IAM policies work and resource policies define access permissions here. So now let us see the duration. This lab will require approximately 60 minutes to complete, so we will try to complete it as soon as possible, like in 30 to 40 minutes. Like in this lab environment, access to AWS services and service actions might be restricted to the ones that are needed to complete the lab instructions. You might encounter errors if you attempt to access other services or perform actions beyond the ones that are described in this lab. So this is our scenario. Like this is a diagram. Like we will be logged in as dev user, developer IAM group, and then the policies which are attached to it. Along with we will be testing the access with EC2 and with along with buckets which will be stored here. Bucket 1, bucket 2 and bucket 3. So this is the same diagram. Like we will assume the role. So now let us start the lab. So this is instances here red like we have not started the lab yet. So let's begin. Now we will wait for the icon to become green till it becomes green. Let us see the details, like what tasks we'll be performing. Like we will start the lab session starts. Like I have already done this. A timer display at the top and shows the remaining time of this in the session. Like here it is displaying. Let's choose start lab again before the timer reaches 0. Before you continue, wait until the circle icon becomes green, and we will log in as the IAM user. Once it becomes green, we will be able to check it from here, the details of the details for the dev user IAM, and we will also be able to access it through it. For password, we will enter this password here. Like this is task 1 here, and we will choose the sign in method. Let us wait for it to become green, then we will begin our task 1. Then following after completion of task 1, we will check task 2 here, and then we will be working on these. So let's wait for it to become green. It will take approximately 2 to 3 minutes for a AWS icon of this to become green. So let's wait. So now it has been green, and we have the region here with the lab ID and along with the start session time here, and the remaining session time is for like 120 minutes. We have 2 hours for it to complete, but we will try to complete it soon. So let us just close this. Okay, now we will go to the AWS details here. We will wait for it. Now here are the details of it. We will now go direct into the ID here and the login URL. So let me just copy this URL. Let's copy, open new tab, and wait for it to load. Now alright, it has been loaded. For the username we will just type here as dev user. Now password we will be selecting here is the here's the password. Let me just copy and paste it here, and now we will click on the button sign in. Now from here our task 1 is complete. So let's see the details here of all the files here. We now we will need to be just careful about the AWS details here. Now the lab has once started here. 6372. Let me just reconfirm the IB 234555847. Now attempting to read access level, open the Amazon like services menu and compute EC2 services. Here we have EC2 as we are logged in as dev user. So unable to read, or like we will get the API errors like just as instructed. In the left hand choose EC2 dashboard, like we are already in the dashboard here. We will get many API error message display here, this is expected here. And then we will now attempt some active actions in the Amazon EC2. In the left navigation pane we will be choosing instances here, and instances list, a message displays you are not okay. Let me recheck. You are not authorized to perform this, and like is not authorized to perform this activity because no identity based policy is available. Like it is obvious, like we will get this. Now we will choose the launch instances here, and scroll down and choose the key pair name here. So alright, scroll down and choose the key pair name drop down list where we have here, where we went here, and authorized to notice that key pair is a required activity here. And now in the summary panel we will be on the right side in the summary panel. Let me just check the summary panel here. Okay, yeah, here it is, summary panel. Oh, my apologies, I'm sorry. And now from here we will just cancel, and now to explore what you can access in the service. From the services we will be going to services menu and choose storage S3. Since task 6 is already done, we will now go to services, storage and S3 services. Now we can select it from here, and we can also here from storage, and then we can select S3 here. Now let's wait for it. We will get now the 3 buckets here, like bucket 1, bucket 2 and bucket 3 here with their regions already specified. Access columns, 3 buckets are listed. The buckets names are unique, but one bucket name contains bucket 1, another contains bucket 2, and third. In the list of buckets, notice that the access column displays the message insufficient permission for all 3 buckets. This is expected, so let us recheck and verify whether it is true or not. We have opened bucket 1, bucket 2, and here we have also opened bucket 3 here. Okay, here we have the details of the buckets files. So, and access points we will click, like we have insufficient permissions to list access points here, just like is expected here. We can check for and verify for all these buckets here with access points here by checking it out. We have insufficient permission list to access points. So it is confirmed via lab that dev user cannot access these points here. So now this task 2 is also complete here. Analyzing the identity based policy applied to the IAM user here. So now we will be searching for the IAM console identity access management here. So let us go to back to the services, security, identity and compliance. Here we will go to IAM. And see, we have here the message access denied here. Notice that you do not have permissions to view certain paths, you don't have permissions to request access here, like we cannot access denied here, we are getting denied access here as well, like with the error messages here as well. User application registration number AWS IAM user slash def user is not authorized to perform these, just expected here. You can see here is not authorized to perform these tasks here. So now choose the developer group users. Notice that now we will search for the developer group icon here. So let me just recheck here. Okay, we need to choose user group here, and here it is. We have the developer group icon here as expected on the users tab. Notice that. So let me click. Here we have dev user as an icon here. It shows here. Now we will IAM policy is attached to this IAM group in the permissions tab. Here we have the permission tab, and let's wait for these policies to load. Yes, we have the developer group policy here. Note the policy applies to any IAM users who are members of the group. Therefore, this policy is currently governs your access to the console because you are logged in as dev user who is a member of this IAM group. So now we will be reviewing the IAM policy details here. Like we will click on the plus sign. Here we have the policy here, and review the policy JSON policy details and recall the level access that you had with it. Notice that the policy does not allow any Amazon EC2 actions here, and you saw like the reason is that we saw these all messages. As we can see here, like we don't have the policy of a summary icon here as it is assumed here. So now we will save the policy to a file on our computer instance. Like now we will copy this file. So let me just open Notepad and save it. Okay, so let me open it again. Here I have attached it, file, save as. Now you can save it to any directory here if you like. So let me just save this file to any instance here, like for example downloads, where all will click all files, and let me check what name should we give to the following file. Okay, we will give it name developer group policy. Okay, let me just copy it, .json extension, and here we will now save this file here in the downloads section. Save. We have now saved this file. Wait, we just, yes, it is saved in, let me check the path again. Yes, it has been saved here. Now attempting to write access level to AWS services. Any actions now? Now our next task is to attempt to create an S3 bucket. Navigate, like we will how to create it. Let's just do it here. Let me go back to the S3 instances. We can go it in through storage, scalable storage in the cloud S3. So here we will now create a new bucket. Just here are all the details here. Now we will give our bucket a name. So we can give it any name here with the 4 digits, which is a kind of a formality and must take to be noted upon. So let me give, you can give it any name here, like I am giving it here name, like here I have given a name here with the number, 4 digit numbers. So just to check here like all these working are perfect or not. Now we will create bucket. So now let's wait for it to create. Okay, so now it has been created, but we still have insufficient permissions to apply and for default description, so it's okay. We can just leave this as it is for now. Let me check the region here. So the region is correct, which region it is existing upon. Now to access the bucket and attempt to load an object, choose the name of the bucket that you just created, choose upload, and then choose add files. Okay, now we will be adding a developer group policy to our newly created bucket here. So let me just open this bucket. Here we have the upload. Okay, now we will add files. Here we have the developer group policy here. Let me just open here. Okay, so let us click and upload. Upload failed because on the files and folders tab on the lower part of the in the error access, we can choose in the error column, choose the access denied. The message states that we don't have permissions to upload the files, and like access denied, here we are getting the confirm message here, and the status here is failed. So now let's see what's next we have to do. We have to now close this here. Okay, so we will close it. Now we need to review the policy of the developer group JSON, which I have already copied here. So now let's see what is the issue we are getting here. For the bucket policy is that we can create buckets with, like, the dev user instance can create buckets, like, and he can list all by buckets, and it can do the listing role, but it cannot write the buckets, and it can just simply read the buckets, so which is fine. Okay, so now we will now be opening this IAM documentation to just understand how the policies work. And from here we will be selecting action resources, service authorization references. Let's wait for it to load. And now we will click over here at action resources. Here we get all the actions tables which we can perform and set policies upon. These are all the details here for the AWS account management topics, Alexa for businesses, and these are all just policies like we can apply with it, but we will not be applying in this lab because it is not a requirement of it as of right now. So now assuming like we have read all these we can read this on a later timestamp, but it is not a formality to do it as of right now. We will close this here. Now assuming an IAM role and reviewing a resource based policy, in this task we will try to access bucket 1 and bucket 2 while logged in as the dev user IAM. We also tried to access the buckets by using a role that was pre-configured as part of the lab setup here. So in the end we will now return to our buckets here. We can return back, and now we will just open it in here in new tab. Now we wait for it to load. So which file we have to load here? Image 2. So I have selected this image. Click on download. So we get this error here because access denied here because we cannot download it. Therefore let me just go back to the instance here. Okay, access denied. Now we will now be following it the same for bucket 2. Let me just close it, open bucket 2, where for what bucket 2 we will be doing. We will be trying to download the image from bucket 2. So image 1, let me just click here as well. We get access denied here because the dev user is not authorized to perform these tasks. So okay, as the console, choose your browser's back button. Like we can use it back button here. I have just shown here. So now we need to create a new role here. So now, and let me just close this here. From here, okay, from here in the dev user, we click. You don't have permissions for this because. So let me just switch role. So let me just type the bucket access role and account ID here. We will be pasting this ID here because it is interlinked with this. So now switch role. Now it is, now we have the bucket access role here visible here. So alright, then we have done this task here. Enter counter ID here, like all these tasks has been done. So now we will try to download, choose the bucket name and select image2.jpg here. So let me open this in new tab and wait for it to load. Which image to download? Let me check again. Image 2. Now let me press this download button here. Success. Now image 2 has been downloaded here in our instance. So now we will need to open the file and verify. So this is the file here. So let us check the preview of the file. This is the preview of the file which will be modifying and uploading here. And now we need to return back to our instance here. It has been uploaded successfully. Successful test IAM with the bucket access role. Navigate to the IAM console. Okay, now we will be returning back to the IAM console here, and IAM. Okay, by changing roles, the permissions that you have to interact with different user services have changed. As you navigate the IAM console, you will see new error messages and that state that you are not authorized. In the left navigation pane, we will choose user groups again. So we have choose the role as a user groups here again. An error message displays you no longer have permissions to view the IAM file page because bucket access role does not have the IAM list group actions applied to it. So now let me just revert back to the dev user here. Here, switch back. Yeah, we are in the user groups. It has been defined here. user groups again, and now alright, users, we have the dev user here, so we have the developer group, we have the dev user, let me check again. Left action pane, I've already selected here. Now user groups, now assigned to the dev user IAM user. Through this user's membership in the group, you are able to view the user groups page again. Okay, before it was unable to access, we were unable to access it. Now we are able to see the developer groups here. Analyze the IAM policy that is associated with the buckets access. On the left, we will choose the roles. Okay, so now I have the bucket access role here. Here we have the permissions of it set up. Access has been denied here still. So bucket access, choose the role name when it appears. Choose the arrow to the left of the list all buckets policy. This search, we had done this, and when it appears, choose the arrow to the left of the list all buckets policies. Okay, here we have the list all buckets policies here set up. So now let's see the rules here. We have list all my buckets, and we can effect as allow here. This permission allows us action to every resource. This permission allows you to see all the bucket details here. So these are all the analysis of it. Now we will be saving grant bucket 1 access policy to our computer. So now here we have a grant bucket 1 access policy. S3 we have get objects, S3 as list objects, and S3 as list bucket. This text indicates a wildcard character in it. Left of it, the policy allows us here. Note that this policy does not grant S3 put object access. The allowed actions are only granted for specific resources bucket 1 and all objects within bucket 1 as indicated. The asterisks are save a copy of the grant bucket 1 access policy to our computer. So it is all of 17 line codes, grant bucket 1 access. So let me just copy it. Okay, open new tab, just paste it, file, save as it downloads all files. Here we grant bucket access 1.json file, copy, paste it here, and save. Here we have saved it. Several details, scroll back to the page and choose a trust relationship. Okay, we can ignore it here. Alright, okay, so it is all bucket 1, we can close it here, it's okay, it happens. Now a trust relationship, we have like dev user trust relationship has been created here. IAM is listed as a trusted entity that can assume its rollback. Assume their bucket access role and try to upload an image to bucket 2. So to assume the bucket access role, we will now go back here. Okay, let's just click it here, buckets access role, wait for it to load. choose bucket section, navigate to Amazon S3, choose the bucket name that contains bucket 2. So okay, now we will go back to the S3. We can click it from here, it's fine. We'll still get all the buckets list. Let us open this bucket 2. So here we have image 1 here, so now we will be uploading image 2 on our bucket, image2.jpg. So alright, we will be upload, add files. So anyways, I have already downloaded the image 2, but it's okay, I can upload it here. This one image, open. So now we will be uploading it here. Let me just press the upload button. Okay, success. It has been now successfully created here. Now we will close this one, as our image has been now added in the bucket 2 instance for using the bucket's access role here, because it is a trusted entity of the dev user, which due to which we were able to upload the image to here. Okay, now so this is our done. Now we will understanding the resource based policies, and in this task we will inspect the bucket policy. So we will be observing the bucket 2 policies here. Okay, so let us check here in the permissions tab to understand here like what happened, because it is associated with bucket's access role, this policy. So which was the reason we were able to get object, and these were all part of this bucket 2 policy, due to which we were able to upload the image and read and write it through the bucket access role. Okay, we have done this. The policy has two statements here, and list bucket policies, you can understand it here because these exist in the as a JSON file. So bucket's access role here is done. So we were able to put the object and place it over there. Now for the challenge task, last task here, our objective for this challenge is to figure out a way to upload the image to JPG file to the bucket 3 file. Okay, so let me just close this tab and open bucket 3 here. Oh sorry, we have bucket 3 here, and we will try to upload it via dev user. Let me just close it and open it via dev user. And we can close the history as well, it doesn't matter. We will now switch back to a dev user role. Now I have switched back here. Let me just open this in new tab. As we had already I had the image 2 existing file, I downloaded it again, but I have to follow the requirement here because the image 1 will not be able to access it or modify it. So now upload, we will add files via dev user. I already have the instance of the image 2 file, so let me just open it here. So okay, and try to upload it. Press on upload. Now let's wait for it. So upload failed here. So why did it fail here? As we see, like from the previous tasks, we were unable to upload it, so unfortunately, so now I have to close it. Now let me check the permissions of this file here, like which role is accessible for this here. So I don't have any roles here from this. Okay, that's okay. Let me just revert it to buckets access role here. Okay, now we wait for it to upload. So permissions are still, let's see. Okay, because the bucket policy here is for we were able to access it via the buckets access role. So the AID is we will now have to create a new instance with the name other bucket access role. Alright, so let me first of all just copy this role. Okay, so switch role. Okay, let me just paste it here. Other bucket access role, account ID alias. Let us just copy this from here. uh Okay, let me just paste it here as these all are here. So now let me click the switch role. Alright, so now we are able to access in the other bucket access role here. So zoom buckets drive, so this has been done here. So now from this user we will now return back to the bucket, open bucket 3 again. Now let me just click on upload here, add files, image 2. Let me just open. Now here we will now click on upload. Now we wait for it to upload. Success, we were able to see it like it has been able to upload here. Alright, so upload status has been completed. Close this instance. Now for the buckets we recheck it again to verify. As you see, image 2 has been uploaded here. So from here now, as a result, our challenge task is now complete. So okay, alright, it has been done. Now as a result, since all of our task has been done, now it's time to submit. Now I'm gonna click on here, submit. Yes, submitting. Now we wait for it. Recorded submission. Now it has been all recorded here. Submission is in progress. Here I also have the remaining session time here. Okay, so all tasks has been done here. Like task 4 created bucket here. From submission report we can check the details like which tasks we were able to complete, and success. So this is our lab here, and from here it is done. Now for the next task I will be completing the module 3 knowledge check here. Till then, I see you next time. Wish you all the best of luck, and now you will be able to understand like how this works. So wish you all the best and happy learning.